So, it has actually been a hot second since, like, streaming at all. The last time that I streamed was this game, and that was 1 week ago when it came out. It came out 1 week ago today, and, yeah, I kind of haven't been streaming for a little bit. I've been busy with a lot of stuff, honestly. There's been a lot of stuff going on, and I've also just been busy and all that. I technically have this week off university, what with it being reading week and such towards the end of the semester here. And yeah, you would think I would have a whole lot more time during that, but nope, complete opposite there. I've been keeping busy with work stuff, and I've been keeping busy with like working on school project stuff. So I had to work on, what did it end up being, like 14 page lab report, something like that for one of my classes. And for my other class, I decided to work on my video essay on games as art, which for the sake of that class, you're supposed to have it under 10 minutes. And I did make a version that's under 10 minutes that I submitted, but I was like, I can't do this topic proper justice in just under 10 minutes. And I've been going ham, and I've been making more of it, and it's like 23 minutes long now for the full thing. And I wrote some more paragraphs on top of that where it's like, it still doesn't do it proper justice, and I've been making more of that, and yeah. You know, because this is some recent stuff, maybe I'll end up using some clips from this at some point in there as well. Is what we might do. Also, there were some serious issues last time with like frame rates and things bugging out and not being all that great with NVENC. I tinkered around with some settings. I tested out a battle like 10 minutes ago, and it looks to be smooth. I tested it on like my dummy account, and it looks like it's running good now. Knowing my luck, it'll completely turn around and not be the case anymore now that I've actually started streaming on my main channel, but we shall see. Also, one last thing that I want to mention here. OBS changed its UI recently. I usually really don't like when apps that I'm using very frequently change their UI. I think that they are usually awful. This one I actually like. You know, separating these various elements in like these boxes and stuff to make them each a lot more clear for what they are. I like that. It's actually a good change, you know, but yeah, that's like one of the few times I've felt that way about an OBS UI change. But yeah, let's see here. But yeah, I realized that when I switched over to this layout here, it kind of cut out the first couple messages of the whatever the heck thing where Bob and me saying if that's a FNAF reference. Actually used a clip from that movie in my most recent video essay project, because I did. The context that I used it in that was just talking about, like, I want to talk about the uniqueness in games as art, and I talk about the co-authorship of like the developer player interactions to collectively like create this art together. Like if it's a film or a book or something like that, then it's completely developer side. They're just handcrafting this piece. Whereas in a video game, it's the developers kind of laying out the tools for the player to create their own artful experience. Like the developer and player co-authoring the experience in a sense. You know, saying that the artist isn't just developer side in the case of a video game. And one of the examples I use is that the tension is a lot higher in a game where you know that there's like the possibility of success or failure. Whereas in a film or a book, you know that things are only going to play out one way. There's only one possibility. Even if you don't know what it is yet, things are only going to go one way. And I used a clip from the FNAF movie with a William Afton appearing, where it's like, yeah, in a movie, the tension's not as high, because even if you don't know what happens, like, it's already been predetermined. As opposed to a video game where success or failure depends on, like, your own actions and ability to adapt to the situation, as I use, like, a FNAF VR Markiplier clip, because I don't have any clips of me playing FNAF. Well, apart from Security Breach, but, like, I wanted one with, like, Springtrap for, like, a good comparison of, like, hey, here's one character in this media and the same character in the other media for, like, a direct comparison, you know. Yeah, let's see here. I have the movie version stuck in your head. Helen Goff was Foxy's voice actor in the movie. Really? Gonna try and meet him at Fan Expo? That'd be awesome there. Gonna have to cram in a full 3-page essay in, like, 4 days for a university assignment there? Or, also, I guess I can get back to the... Wait, there's a thing first. Let's watch this first. This became available when I was going around, like, testing.
Do you think we've sealed up so far?
Oh, I've lost track. I've been all over the world by now.
This journey's grown longer than I expected.
Say, Shion, are you getting tired?
No, I'm fine. Why? Do I look tired? Have my clothes gotten a bit messy? Oh, or my hair. Or maybe I have bags under my eyes.
No, not at all. It's just as battle ready as ever.
What? Just say it.
You're not
Howard.
forcing yourself to do this, are you?
What do you mean?
Just that maybe you'd rather live a calm life somewhere, you know? Away from fighting. You can wear whatever you like.
Alphen, it sounds to me like you're misunderstanding something. I'm not forcing myself to do anything, okay? We're the only ones who can seal the mausoleums, right? I'm doing this because I want to. After all, I could hardly live in peace knowing the world's still in trouble. And these clothes, I wear them because I like them. I chose all of this for myself. This whole
Actually, I'm
journey
pretty sure
around,
I chose them as the player.
I wanna be on
Because
it
they
with
look
you,
cool.
to travel with you. That's why even now,
Like, a video game gives me an option to put a character in a long black coat, and I just can't help myself.
okay then.
I'm like a moth to
I guess
light.
That's the end of that. Come on, let's go, Alphen.
Right. Let's go, Shion.
I know that outfit is supposed to be based off of, like, some other video game, some other Tales of game, most likely. I have no idea from where, I don't know whose it was, I don't care, it just looks cool. That's all I care about. I don't know how to get to the place I actually need to get to, maybe it'll guide me when I get there. Anthropology essay, well, I wish you the best with that. And yeah, that's what it feels like there. Yeah, you would think that, my chat broke, there we go. You would think that after that was kind of established in the main game that, you know, they would be over it for the epilogue story. Where am I going? What? Oh. Dark Wings headquarters. So, okay, so that's behind me. Yeah, that could well be the case. You know, maybe. It got concluded at the end of the main game, and maybe it'll get concluded a second time at the end of the epilogue. We'll see here.
Looks like you took care of everything. As impressive as ever.
Any updates?
Yeah, a
on the
week ago.
situation
Sorry,
in
it took
town?
me a little while to get back to it here.
Yeah, but nothing good. There's no end to the people looking to stir up trouble here. Both Danins and Renans alike. Yeah, to be honest, sometimes I wonder if taking in those Renan refugees was the right... No, I can't go thinking like that.
Regardless of the difficulties, I want to believe that your decision to not turn the Renans away was the correct one.
I want to as well. But at any rate, Nazamil shouldn't stay here. It isn't safe for her. Not that it's her fault, but... Sorry, Nazamil.
It's fine, don't worry.
Thanks, Bayfon. All right, everyone. Let's head to Vicente.
I assume I actually need to trek there, or fast travel to campgrounds to another location. Yeah, I did that. Because it seems like I have like a new fresh instance of the map with this epilogue story, which means I might need to trek
Please
there
don't
for the
blame
first
Bayfon,
time.
Nazamil.
Yeah. Him accepting
Right.
Renans at all is
Probably.
pretty amazing. I doubt that's very
I haven't dropped any
consoling,
frames yet.
It's
Hopefully it
okay.
stays that way.
I'm used to it.
Alright, there we go. Nope. Yeah, I gotta find my way there. Apparently there's a thingamabob over here. Alright, this is still the fastest way to get over. So I'll just run over and accept it, because why not? Is what I suppose I will do here.
Time flies when we're traveling together.
It sure does. Yeah, let's just go get quests accepted and stuff. So, tomorrow releases both Super Mario RPG and Persona 5 Tactica. I think Persona 5 Tactica is actually out today on PC, but all other platforms it's tomorrow for some reason. Don't know why there's the difference in release date, but I guess I could be playing it right now, but I wanted to pick it up on Switch. I showcase the Swatch version and stuff. And got a call from GameStop earlier today saying like, oh yeah, Mario RPG is in. Well, we're not doing a midnight release or anything for this title. It'll just be, you know, starting from the morning tomorrow. And I was like, okay, I pre-ordered Persona 5 Tactica as well. Is that, like, gonna be in and stuff? And they were like, we don't actually have it in yet. And we don't know what's going on. So I called, oh gosh dang it. Here, let's just make sure that everything is going a-okay here, is what we'll do. Hold on. I just want to make sure that there's no drop frames, because it was working fine in testing, but I know that battles is where things kind of struggled before. Anyway, I called again a little bit before the stream started, you know, right towards the end of the, you know, working day at GameStop and all that, and they said that it's still not in. They'll still get like some supplies in tomorrow morning, and you know, hopefully it'll be in there, but it might not be, and they'll get a couple, you know, shipments in throughout the day of stuff, and one can just kind of hope that, you know, Persona 5 Tactica is in, because they currently don't really know what's going on, and that's kind of concerning. And I really don't want to make 2 trips. So normally with a new release, I might go like right in the morning, and because I have the day available tomorrow. For the most part, I have some team stuff that I need to do for my group project in university, a team meeting and stuff that I'll be working on there. But you know, a decent bit later in the day, I have time throughout the day for, you know, covering these new releases. But I don't really want to go there and back, and then there and back a second time in one day. You know, when I could just go pick up both the games at once, you know. So, you know, part of me is like, should I stay up late playing Tales of Arise? Should I try to get to bed at a decent hour and get out the door and to GameStop right early in the morning? Since I typically get new games like Rise, they come out. But again, I don't want to make 2 trips, and I don't know what's going on with that. So I'm a little bit conflicted, and I don't know what the heck I'm doing. You know, Japanese games seem to come out on PC a day early. Bandai Namco does it happen with Elden Ring and Dark Souls Remastered. Huh. Interesting. Persona 5 Tactic also added same-sex romance, so progress for Persona. I heard that. I saw that there was like a kind of misleading Kotaku article that was gaining rounds, and a lot of people that were just like, Kotaku. And looking into it, apparently it's only like a small like tidbit there that I don't know how much effect it actually has on the full game itself, but yeah, apparently they added that. Yeah, but yeah, I know that's par for the course for Kotaku though. But yeah, it is, I do like how, you know, from what I've seen, from what I've heard of this situation, in main game Persona 5, there was only same-sex options. And I feel like, you know, if you're playing a certain character in a video game and let's say there's only same-sex romance options, you know, I would argue that that's fine if it's a character that you clearly want to be written as, like, this is the character, like, the character that you're writing is, like, a straight character or whatever the heck. You have a very specific archetype in your mind for a character. But when you're making a character that's clearly meant to be the player, like, placing themselves into the character, when you have, like, a mostly silent protagonist, like Joker/Ren there, and you're choosing all the dialogue options, who you're clearly meant to be, like, mentally placing yourself onto, and you don't include any of those options, then it's like, that's a little bit odd to not be including any of those options. And, you know, maybe you want to write, like, all these other characters, like, all these other male characters, like, oh, they're straight, that's why they're not interested. At least have, like, 1 or 2, you know? Because when you have a character that you're meant to be placing yourself into, like, it helps to be able to place yourself into it, you know, is my humble opinion on the matter. So, apparently, the fact that you can choose to, like, who would you like to have a dream wedding with across your party members, or the fact that any party member is now a choice, it's like, okay, yeah, that's nice. You know, and I might have misspoken on one of those sentences there. If I did, then whoops. But yes, probably, at whatever I misspoke there. Now, hold on. Don't tell me you guys plan on going ahead. Tomb Raider, Lara Croft, and I just came from that direction. In that case, here's some friendly advice. Take my word for it and turn back. I mean now. I was literally required to come and do things here already earlier in the story. Seem pretty worked up. Is there something up ahead? I recently came to learn of a Renin structure past here, so I thought I'd go check it out. As soon as I entered, a chill ran down my spine. I sense a presence not of this world.
Right.
I see. That structure must be a mausoleum, no doubt about it. Still, what possessed you to approach that structure in the first place? I mean, it's Renin, right? I figured there must be something in there I could use. As soon as I felt that repulsive presence, my will to raid it all but dried up. Raid it all but dried up. We risk our lives every time we enter a mausoleum. I suggest you never enter another one. I'll believe you me, I already came to that conclusion during my last brush with death. Felt like someone was here, though. Man, I'm curious myself. Sorrow, I want to check out that strange presence in the mausoleum. What do you say? Sure. Sure. If it ends up being dangerous, better to take care of it before it's too late. You'd be doing me an awful big favor. I won't be able to sleep a wink until I know what that was. What could it have been? Normally the signs would point to a Zoogle, but this isn't normal. We didn't encounter any presence like that when we checked it out, did we?
Whoa!
I hate to imagine it, but I think the Helganquil inside the mausoleum have awakened. No, can't be. Wait, did I... Maybe I'm not paying enough attention to, like, the who's speaking and thingamabobs here. He's not responding to himself, is he? Was that a Kassar? I don't know. Wait, is there a button that I can check the log? Who knows? Can't be. Those Elegankul should still be asleep. All the more reason we can't leave this matter be. I have to see the truth with our own eyes. Silence and sleep. I also thought about grinding between sessions, but I didn't really have the time to do that. I also have been meaning to do grinding, you know, in Fire Emblem Fates Conquest, because we've gotten to the point that, like, I'm done my main game, like, content stuff until we get all the child units. So now is, like, literally the massive grind portion of the playthrough for Fire Emblem Fates Conquest. And, where am I going then? Towards Vicent, okay. Like, the big grind part of that game starts, and I haven't streamed that in, what, like a week and a half now? Something like that? Maybe close to 2 weeks.
Adventure we went on.
That was the last Doggy Cam stream. That was, not exactly an easy stream to do right there. That was, yeah, that was about 2 weeks ago now. And, I have not actually touched the game since then. You know, been busy with things, and also, you know, dealing with not the greatest of times. And that's what'll happen there, but, you know, I'll get around to it at some point. Ever since, for the sake of being able to get those materials that I'm missing, thanks to, you know, Nintendo's online services not working very well right now, and soon to not work at all, like, you know, very early next year, ever since getting that save data editor going for that reason, because I literally can't get it legitimately anymore, these various different things. Oh, we just get right to Vicent, we don't actually need to travel and stuff. I could just, in theory, use it to cheaty Pete, like, all my levels and skills and stuff like that I want, and just say, hey, all it changed was the grinding time. And these units that I cheaty Pete grinded up, I'm not even gonna use in the main game story anymore. Like, here's my child units that I'll use completely legitimately from here. Like, grinding based. You know, not be cheesing my way through. Because I remember,
We've arrived.
that was
This is
an
Vicent,
insanely
where Ganons and
long
Lemmings
time
live
investment
equals.
in the Birthright playthrough. And, like,
Equals? Even me?
with busyness stuff here,
Yes.
as I'm wrapping my
I
final year of
personally
university,
guarantee it.
I am kind of
I
leaning
know it's hard
towards
to believe after Nies.
potentially cheapy. I don't know, I'll consider
Same
it.
way when we first arrived.
Everyone that's been around the channel
It
for
may
a
do
long
you
time
some
knows that
good
if
to
ever I
observe
use
the
cheaty
city
Pete
while we're
strats,
on our way to visit
one, I
Joshua.
always disclose it, and two, like, it's always literally just for the sake of saving time. It's never for making the challenge easier. I think the only time that I did it to make the challenge easier, there was one case, and only one case on the channel. It was during my Planet Coaster Ghostbusters playthrough, because the level was just so poorly designed. I was like, I can't do this. Let's just see, like, what happens when it's beaten, and I acknowledge that I
Who's
didn't do
that?
it. You know?
He's after everyone who just moved here. He'll help
And
with
then I
all
found
the
out there was a
procedures you
second
need
park
to
that
go
was even
through.
more rigged, and I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this, and I quit. And that was in the earlier days of the channel, where I didn't have as much obligation to finish the things that I started, and I don't think I ever finished it.
You might as well check the place out. You can decide whether to live here after that.
Okay.
Alright.
Is it your first time in Vicent,
But yeah,
Nazamil?
had to buy an
Yes.
SD card adapter
I
for
was
your new
told to
computer
avoid
to
getting too
rehack your
close to
3DS.
cities.
You had to
Then
unhack
how'd
it
you
due
end
to a
up in
glitch.
the S?
Same day
I happened
delivery
to
is
be nearby
scary.
when the worlds merged.
I can get it to you
I
fast.
didn't know what was
Yeah, I have a
happening, so I
micro
fled
SD
there
card
for
and SD
shelter.
card adapter, like a little USB stick thing. I used to keep it on my desk. I lent it to my dad recently because he had a micro SD card that he wanted to see the data of on this dash cam that he recently got for his truck. And I assume that it's in his office. I don't know. I haven't had need of it, so I haven't really asked for it back. So remember a YouTube comment? Wait, that got mad at me for grinding my Lunatic Plus playthrough? Either I didn't see it or I don't remember it. But I don't doubt that it happened, knowing how stuff like that goes. And that's something that I kind of talk about in the Games as Art essay that I've been working on. What do you miss? We were like, let's go to Vicent. That's it. That's it, really. And I think I fixed it. I think I fixed the game and it should be able to, like, run good without dying now. On one of the grinding episodes, huh? Yeah, I don't remember it, but I absolutely do not doubt it. You also have a new 3DS, so you can play 3DS games again. Nice! Join the new 3DS gang. I love my new 3DS. You know, so many games jammed on that thing. Also, does my camera seem high? Here, we can put it, like, here or something like that. In the Games as Art essay that I've been working on lately, one of the things that I talk about is I, in the past month, have been studying a shit ton of academic articles and, like, papers on why games can or cannot be art. By all sorts of academics in the gaming field and in the film field and such. And the most common criticism I see for why games can't be art is because, like, the artist or developer is not handcrafting the exact experience that they know that every player is going to receive, like you would in a film or book where you're laying out exactly how things are going to play out. Like, you know, even you could still write a completely linear story like this, but, you know, maybe a player gets stuck on like a really difficult boss and, you know, struggles to make it through, and that kind of ruins the experience, or they, you know, run around this fountain in circles for like 3 hours. By allowing the emergence in video games, it means that, you know, not that the artistic vision that the developer has might shift and take on different forms, and therefore, like, the artist can never express, like, their true meaning and intent. And in the essay, I make the argument, as I mentioned earlier, that this doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, video games can't be art, but rather that the artist is both the developer and the player together, co-authoring the experience that is games as art. But one of the paragraphs that I decided to make in the channel version that wasn't in the, you know, version that I submitted for university, since the version I submitted for university had a max length of 10 minutes, is to, like, properly delve into this idea of, like, you know, by allowing emergence, like, it undermines the artistic experience. And, you know, that's something that, you know, I feel like a lot of players would, you know, disagree with, but it's also something a lot of players would agree with without even realizing it. And the two examples that I used in the video essay were Undertale and Elden Ring. When Undertale started gaming Steam, like, every content creator and their mother started covering that game. And my goodness, so many people were getting bashed because they were playing their own way, letting the game get co-authored by, like, them and the developer, like, through their own decisions, as opposed to taking the path that, you know, most people saw as the correct way to play Undertale. So, you know, people were getting bullied like crazy for playing that game in their own way. The thing that I say is artful in the first place in that essay. Yeah, stuff like that. Or in Elden Ring, oh my goodness, is that Star Jittery? Or in Elden Ring, there was the whole debacle of, you know, like, oh, you're playing with a Spirit Ashes? You're using magic? You know, all these various different things where if you're not playing the exact way that I view this game as artful, then you're missing the point and you're not getting an artful experience. And it's like, of course, not saying those words. I'm just, like, I'm just changing the words slightly to form, like, my argument of, like, games as art. But, you know, generally that's what people are still saying, is, like, you're not getting the right experience playing the game the way that it was intended to be played. So, you know, this idea that video games cannot be art because it's open to the emergence of player choice and different play styles, there's a lot of players that would agree with that without even realizing that they agree with that whenever they say that there's a correct or incorrect way to play a game. And that's just another example that can be added to the pile. Like, oh, you played Lunatic Plus and you grinded? Unacceptable. This isn't the way it was meant to be experienced. Believing that the true artistic experience is this one specific way that they imagine that it's supposed to be played, you know. So, you know, that's something that I bring up in that essay, and yeah. And yeah, that's fair enough. But when it comes to games, I feel like there's a lot of cases like that where people see the optimal best experience as playing a certain way or making certain choices in the game, and if someone doesn't do that, it means they're doing it wrong. You should see some of the comments in my Scarlet and Violet essay. In the Scarlet and Violet essay, I talk about how Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is an open world game, and therefore, there shouldn't be a wrong way to play. Like, that's especially the case in open world titles. I've gotten, like, at least a couple dozen comments that said, but you literally did play the game wrong, though. And, just like, brother, do you not know what an open world game is? Like, what? Imagine telling someone they played an open world game wrong. Like, But yeah, same energy as someone mad at you use magic in a FromSoft game. Yeah, it's the exact same situation. Same thing you said about TV, people's experience with shows and interpreting things is also different. Yeah, but it's still like the thing that they're viewing, the thing that's on the screen in front of them, whether it's like what's on the screen for TV or on the page in front of them in a book, that remains the same. You can interpret it in different ways, yes, but what's on the screen will always be the same. But in the format of a video game, it changes, and that's what gives video games their own unique artfulness, is what I argue in my essay. You know, and yeah, art technically doesn't have a true meaning. So in the, you know, this video essay, it's technically a redo of my first essay for the class. My first essay, I took the subject of games as art, and my game of choice was Firewatch. And I wrote a video essay called, like, the video essay, just an essay, it wasn't a video essay, that was called The Irony of Escapism. And basically I was like, things can be artful when they make arguments and have deeper meaning. Let's analyze how Firewatch has deeper meaning. And I talk about how, like, the character that you play as, Henry, he wanted to escape from, like, his obligations and stuff. He figured his life would always be the same. He'd always stay committed to his wife and such, but after she developed dementia, you know, it became really difficult to him, and he got a job in, like, literally the most remote place that he could get when he didn't want her to have, like, a long commute, you know, just earlier in the story, because he wanted to see her more often. But after that developed, he wanted to just, like, get away and escape, like, a complete shift in his whole stance there. And, ultimately, he's sent back to society because of someone else that wanted to escape. I forget what his name is, but the previous Firewatch that, you know, we were kind of starting to put together the truth about, like, what happened with him, and, you know, how he kind of let his son die through negligence and stuff, and he didn't want to own up to that, and he kind of wanted an escape, and, you know, because our escape kind of interfered with his escape, he kind of ended up burning the whole thing down and was like, don't come after me, and we ultimately ended up having to return to society. And I talked about how, you know, video games, in a way, are an escape as well. Like, we go to a video game, and it takes us to a completely different world, different from, like, the day-to-day stresses, just like Henry did when, you know, he went to get this remote job as a Firewatch and seemingly embarked on this grand adventure that just turned out to be an illusion this whole time, and it was something a whole lot simpler going on behind the curtains. And ultimately, at the end of the game, where we have the prompt, the final input of go home, it's not only Henry returning back to, like, his day-to-day life, him being done with his escape, but the players as well, as they're now done with this video game, and that brings us back to reality. And I talk about how this was the way that I interpreted deeper meaning in Firewatch, and how, you know, games are artful because of, like, the deeper meaning that we can interpret from them. I got a 65% on that paper. I did not exactly do super great. And we have the chance to redo our first game analysis, so, you know, I was stuck with the topic of games as art, since, you know, it counted as a redo. I was allowed to change the format from written essay to video essay, so I was like, alright, I'm changing my stance this time. Rather than making my own definition of art, demonstrating why a certain game fits that, and then being like, because this game fits my definition of art, that means that this game is art and games can be artful. And this is literally something that I outline in the beginning of the video essay, where I say, instead of doing this, you know, instead, I decide for this essay to talk about some of the things that we see as artful and why, and how this is done in games. So the main two paragraphs that I wrote that were in the submission version were, like, play as art and narrative as art. Where play as art, I talk about examples like chess, where, you know, in a lot of major chess competitions, I found out from some of the essays that I read, there are apparently two prizes, one for the ultimate winner and one for the best game. Why would we care about the best game if we didn't believe there to be, like, an artistic nature, a certain layer of beauty that comes with, like, good play, you know? And there was this one interesting essay that I read about, like, why we enjoy playing video games instead of doing other, like, difficult to solve challenges out in the world, like curing cancer. And this one essay talked about how, you know, all these various things that you can do, like fixing a car engine, like going finding a cure to something, whatever the heck, you know, these can be difficult challenges that can potentially have solutions and can have beauty in their own solutions. But these moments of beauty in finding, like, the elegant solution in the way right through a problem in real life, these don't happen a whole lot. These instances are way too rare. They're way too far and few between. But a well-designed video game can foster those kinds of moments of, like, the beauty of play and problem solving to happen more frequently. You know, like, to use a similar example to chess, a game like Fire Emblem, in a well-designed map that isn't, like, overwhelming BS like Fire Emblem Engage, can really push your strategic abilities. Have you really struggled to find a way through until you see it, the solution, the elegant solution to just barely get by, and have like that really rewarding feeling that comes with like that problem solving, like the artfulness of play and stuff. You know, I guess I don't really need to outline the whole thing right now. It'll eventually get published, but you know, I keep on adding more paragraphs of stuff that I feel like is important to talk about. So it was just like that. Like saying speedrunning is not a correct way to play, even though speedrunners play those games way better. I actually use speedrunning as an example in my channel version that I'm developing. I didn't include it in my submission version because it was too long to talk about. But I use that as an example of artful play in the sense that speedrunning is something very often celebrated within the gaming community, because it brings this idea of artful and impressive play to its absolute limits a lot of the time. But yeah, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are prime examples of good open world. Absolutely. Scarlet and Violet are on the opposite end of the spectrum. Yeah, absolutely. Same reason you don't like the grimdark genre. Play game slash watch anime slash read books to escape. Yeah, that's fair enough there. It's a game that ruins its deeper meaning. Detective Pikachu Returns ruins its deeper meaning? Did it have deeper meaning? Your sense of escapism isn't the norm, just like to read stories, see what people create, make your own stories. Yeah, that's fair enough. Hold on, let's see what people want to talk about here.
I've learned a lot traveling with you.
Oh? About what in particular?
Cooking. Getting to finally cook together again after so long has made me realize just how amazing a chef you really are. I need to take the opportunity to watch you at work again while I still have the chance.
Your cooking already has everyone coming back for seconds. I don't think there's anything left to teach you.
Oh, but there is. Not only do you season things perfectly every time, but your movements are so quick and precise. Compared to you, I'm just a novice. I hope you don't mind if I swipe a few of your techniques.
You've really gotten into cooking, huh, Shion?
Though, as usual, she still buys a ridiculous amount of ingredients.
There's no such thing as too many ingredients. And can you blame me for wanting to try out every new recipe we find?
I can relate. Trade between realms has flourished within this past year, and with it, the availability of exotic ingredients. It's the same in Vicente. The people there have been experimenting with food that incorporates a wider array of flavors.
You're telling me brand new gourmet cuisine is being invented all over the world? I want to try making and eating all of it.
Eating the food is one thing, but isn't it hard finding and learning a bunch of new recipes like that?
Yeah, you make a good point. In the past, Kisara has always been there to help me, but I'm not so sure it would be as easy on my own.
In that case, I'll put in the effort to learn some new recipes myself. That way I can teach you the next time we meet.
You will?
Of course. I'm not one to back down from a new cooking challenge. And besides, I really do appreciate your faith in me.
Why don't we all just go to Kisara's every once in a while? You teach the rest of us too, right?
Cooking classes with Kisara? I think I'd like to join in on that.
Very well. I'll take on all of you.
Are you gonna teach us? Or are you gonna fight us?
I would love some cooking lessons there. And yeah, I can agree there. Get some more male chefs in video games there. You know, that is also the cook in the fabulous bed cook is actually more relatable to you. That's kind of me in more recent years. So, like, growing up, my mom did a whole lot of the cooking around the house. But, you know, ever since 2018, where my dad got, you know, stuck at home on workers' compensation after, like, his knee injuries kind of caused him a lot of issues and such. You know, he was stuck at home, he was bored, he needed to, you know, find stuff to do and be productive and all that. He learned a shit ton about cooking in that time. And then, you know, since 2018, you kind of learned how to become the stay-at-home dad. I mean, not to imply that I'm, like, you know, a kid growing up that's, you know, you know, having a stay-at-home dad or anything. Like, I'm in my 20s here. But, you know, he learned a lot about cooking at that point. And considering my mom and I work at the same place, there'd be a lot of times that, you know, we'd come back home from work together. You know, there's my dad that's in the middle of cooking something up, you know, at the ready for us when we were back home from a long day of work, all that, you know. So, you know, there's that there. Also, when it comes to male cooks, my goodness, when that Guzma nerd was here during the summer, the stuff that he was making, let's just say, like, chef's kiss right there. When we were out at the lake cabin and, you know, fishing a little bit to see if we could catch anything that was a keeper. I caught a jackfish that was big enough to be a keeper. And he's never worked with jackfish before. And, you know, they're very, very bony fish. You couldn't get all the bones out because you basically can't with a jackfish, is the case. And what he did, he made it like a cheese crust for it. I didn't even know that was an option. I didn't even know that that was a thing that you could do. And I genuinely think that was the best fish that I've ever had. You know, I'm typically not a fan of fish. It's the kind of thing that it's like, I'll eat it anyway, despite not liking it, just because it's like, hey, here's a way to get like some other nutrients in my diet. Like, you know, keep myself healthy by, you know, getting different nutrients in my system, even if that means sometimes I need to eat things that I don't like. And I typically really don't like fish, and just kind of put up with the necessary evil of eating it to get those nutrients and stuff. Fish that he made, though, that was actually delicious. That was actually really good. You know, yeah, I would absolutely agree there. And much like the art of video games, it felt cool and almost being a co-authored experience, and that I caught it and he cooked it, you know? That was really cool there. That was awesome, you know? Yeah. Joke around your house and don't let mom touch a stove, she'll burn water again. No. I'm actually trying to learn to cook here and there on the side, because I know that it's like a really important skill to have. Like, I've more so started with, like, baking stuff recently. Like, I've tried to bake a couple desserts. Like, I made a Haskap cake with my Oma. I tried to make it on my own, along with my cousin's younger kiddo, and it turned into more of a crumble. But, you know, the people that I served it to, my friends from grade school growing up, assured me that it was still good. I made crabapple muffins. I still have a whole bunch of crab apples. I might make some more crabapple muffins from a tree that my Oma grew from seed, like, forever ago, and it was the first time those crab apples had ever been used for anything, and they actually make really good muffins. And I should probably use these other crab apples that I have before they go bad, and I'm thinking about maybe making some more crab apple muffins this weekend. But in terms of general cooking stuff, it's also just kind of difficult to find the time to do this kind of stuff, but, you know, maybe I'll do some more practice with my Oma at some point, because I know that makes her happy as well. I've dilly-dally long enough. What's going on here?